So good afternoon. I'd like to welcome the members of the American Association of Plastic Surgeons, Plastic Surgery Research Council, and European Association of Plastic Surgeons, and all our guests from around the world to the opening ceremony of AAPS. The unique format and rich content of our extended meeting this year reflected creativity and dedication of our scientific program committee, and I'm pleased to introduce three very hardworking program co-chairs, Drs. Jeff Kenkel, Amy Moore, and Justin Sachs.
Well, thank you. On behalf of my co-chairs, Jeff and Justin, I want to welcome you all to the AAPS annual meeting. We have had an incredible year putting together this program that I'm sure you will enjoy. We could not do our work without those individuals listed, and I know there are many of you, but each of you contributed greatly because of our record-breaking submissions of abstracts. There's incredible science happening in plastic surgery, and it is truly exciting and inspiring the work that each of you are doing. So thank you to the program committee. If everybody could give a round of applause to this great group. As for the data, we love data. We had a record 797 submitted abstracts with an acceptance rate of 9.2% for oral presentations. And you can see the other data displayed for our poster and display posters, which we'll be working on this evening, so I encourage you all to be there. Total registrants as of 5/19/24 was 538, so look around and say hello to friends, and we look forward to a great meeting. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Amy, Jeff, and Justin. I'm delighted to introduce the officers of PSRC and URAPS, and please stand when your name is called, and I will ask the audience to hold their applause until all 6 officers have been introduced. From the Plastic Surgery Research Council, Dr. Aaron Green, Chair. Dr. Allison Snyder-Warwick, Chair-elect. And Dr. Justine Lee, Vice Chair. And here you see their nice photos. And from the European Association of Plastic Surgeons, Dr. Jan Frank, Secretary General, Dr. Fabio Santinelli Di Pompeo, President, and Dr. Turpi Demiri, President-elect. Welcome to the AAPS. At this time, I'd like to introduce the AAPS Secretary, Dr. Joseph Cerletti.
Great, thank you, Andy. A quick reminder, we changed the application process for members so that it all happens within 1 year, so that the application process is now open. If you have a candidate, please go ahead and nominate that person, and they will be inducted as new members at next year's meeting because we electronically vote for them before the meeting. Because of the more limited program, we had a wonderful lunch with the new members, and we're going to do it a little differently today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the names of the new members. You guys don't stand until I'm done reading the names, and then we'll welcome you with, I'm sure, a terrific round of applause. So again, join me in welcoming the new members: Mohammed Al Ghul, Peter Arnold, Jens Burley, Rena Batt, Jonathan Black, Kristen Broderick, Hakan Brorsland, Paris Butler, Abhishek Chatterjee, Michael Chu, Meredith Collins, Jordan Deschamps-Braley, Aaron Doran, Brian Drolet, Kyle Eberlein, Stacy Francis, Antonio Jorge Forte, Timothy Gillenwater, Carolyn Glicksman, Raymond Harshbarger, Peter Henderson, Fernando Herrera, Olivia Ho, Sanyu Jain, Nicole Jarrett, Sahil Kapoor, Rud Kassira, Eva Timek, Renee Dennis Largo, Shana Macadam, Renata Mercerovich, Alexander Merickley, Patricia McGuire, Benjamin McIntyre, Gerard Mundinger, Jonas Nelson, Brian Pan, Carolyn Rogers Vizina, Margaret Robud, Christopher Runyon, Anil Shetty, Jordan Swanson, and Sebastian Winocourt. Guys, why don't you stand up? Yep. Great. All right. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Joe. An important development for the association the past year is the establishment of the David T.W. Chu MD Prize in Plastic Surgery Innovation and Humanism. Established by Dr. Chu's friends and colleagues, endowment with a minimum goal of $100,000 aims to recognize a deserving individual starting at the 2025 annual meeting. Please consider contributing to this effort, as well as other priorities of the AAPS to promote plastic surgery education, research, and advancement. Before Dr. Larson and Constantian introduce our Canon student this year, I wish to know that due to their dedication and your generosity, the program has been a resounding success in stimulating medical students to go into academic plastic surgery. Of the 95 Canon students between 2018 and 2022, 76% has successfully enrolled in an integrated plastic surgery residency, and that ratio is significantly above the match rate of 56% for all plastic surgery applicants. In other words, showing up at this meeting increases the student's chance of becoming a plastic surgeon by 20%. So just imagine if anyone attends the meeting for 5 times. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Drs. Larson and Constantian.
Well, I have the great pleasure of recognizing two groups of people. One are the Canon donors who have contributed money to support a student, and those dollars are augmented by the board's generosity and the organization's generosity to provide 2 nights of board, of hotel, and all of the registration to this meeting. And so I would like to ask the Canon donors to please stand, and they are listed here. 23 donors and the 24 donors. Anyone can donate. Any member. You don't necessarily have to be retired to contribute to the Canon event. The next slide are the medical students, and I'm not going to read their names, but you can see there are 25 medical students that are here. They have a 76% chance of matching in a plastic surgery program, we just learned. And you can see that they are from all over the country. And they're either an M2 or an M3. Here's the other list. I would ask those candidates that are those students that I have just shown on the slide. If you would please stand. Along with the donors, please stand.
This program has been going on for 7 years, and after about 3 years, we were up to 250 applicants for about 25 spots. So we limited it to the first 75 applicants, which is what the committee can handle. And those 75 slots filled up in 30 minutes after the window opened. So part of the reason you're seeing these students do so well getting residencies is because of their achievements and their compulsion to be at this meeting. And you're looking at the members that are going to be members of the association someday. There are 2 ways to support this. One is the yearly contribution that Dr. Larson just mentioned, and one is by contributing to the Canon Fund. And these are the Canon Fund donors. You don't have to be old like me to contribute. Any of you can contribute, including the new members, because you're now supporting colleagues you will have in a few years. So I hope you will do that. The Canon program has been wonderfully successful, far beyond what we expected, and we thank you all for your generosity.
Very good.
So it is an honor to be in front of you to be able to present the James Barrett Brown Award as the chair of the awards committee. I'd first like to thank all the members of the committee, Scott Hollenbeck, Bernie Lee, Melissa Poe, Justin Sachs, Allison Snyder-Warwick, Julia Corcoran, Aaron Green, Tim King, Amy Moore, and Ron Yu for all of their hard work and dedication to this process. The process was designed to select the James Barrett Brown winner, and that is an award that was established in memory of James Barrett Brown, who is a past president of the association. It's presented annually to the best plastic surgery-related paper published during the previous year. We submitted requests from all of you to nominate papers that you thought were the best papers of the year from any plastic surgery journal and even non-plastic surgery journals related to the work in plastic surgery. We received a lot of nominations which the award committee vetted. We then submitted 6 nominees to all of you to select what you all thought was the best paper. And this year, the best paper award went to Venkat Rao for his paper entitled The Anatomy of a Malpractice Lawsuit. And I would like to request that Dr. Shafri approach the podium to give a brief presentation around this award.
Thank you all. I'll make a few comments and then Dr. Shafri will do the presentation. I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Sadana, Dr. Lee, and all the members of the association for choosing our paper. I've had tremendous co-authors to work with. I have great partners in Madison, Dr. Benz and Dr. Dan Cho are here. I have a great family. My wife Nalini is here, and my daughters Allison and Abigail are very supportive of what we do. I thought we'll start by giving you a quick snapshot of what our team has done over the years so that you see that we have focused on the business aspects of plastic surgery and what affects us all on a day-to-day basis. One of the publications that we have is about the National Practitioner Data Bank. The second publication that I want to highlight is Private Equity in Plastic Surgery, which recently came out. Third publication that we have is Out of Scope Surgeries by Cosmetic Surgeries by Non-Plastic Surgeons. And the most recent paper is going to be about unionization amongst doctors. So we have a scope of a wide range of things that we have published on business topics. We are thankful that the association chose our publication of the Anatomy of Malpractice suit, and my colleague, Dr. Shaffrey, is going to do the presentation of the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Medical malpractice continues to undermine the physician practice patterns with an estimated cost of healthcare expenditures of $56 billion, and this does not reflect the direct or indirect costs to the surgeon. Unfortunately, most surgeons will likely encounter a medical malpractice lawsuit at some point in their career, with 44% of all physicians experiencing at least one malpractice suit. In order for a medical malpractice suit to be successful, one must breach 3 criteria. They must breach the patient-physician relationship, standard of care, and proximate cause. The patient-physician relationship is a mutual relationship that can be entered either explicitly, such as a clinic office encounter, or implicitly over a telephone encounter or social situation. The case of Adams versus Vi Christie Regional Medical Center is an example of an implicit relationship where a physician was found liable for a wrongful death of a girl who died from an ectopic pregnancy rupture after her mother called him regarding medical advice for the patient's abdominal pain. Despite not examining the patient, he provided a medical opinion that established an implicit relationship, and it highlights that physicians may decline these implicit relationships in social encounters. Standard of care is where a healthcare professional who can provide the same care as their peers in similar situations, and this has been established by Helling v. Carey and T.J. Hopper. In order to establish a breach of standard of care, this can either be done through res ipsa, where the error is so obvious there is no other explanation, or an expert witness who is able to translate complex medical concepts into layperson vernacular. And the American Society for Plastic Surgeons Code of Ethics declares its members must testify as expert witnesses when appropriate. Proximate cause is the determination that the injury is related to the initial event, and this is established by existence of duty by the physician, a breach of duty, a resulting injury, and a causal relationship between the two. And a breach of proximate cause can be established with either cause in fact or foreseeability. This figure provides an overview of the process of a medical malpractice lawsuit. You can see that it starts with an unhappy patient who then reaches out to a lawyer to determine the viability of a case. 75% of cases, however, are ultimately dropped due to a lack of viability. In plastic surgery, unhappiness, scarring, and infection are the most common reasons for lawsuits, and it highlights the importance of informed consent, which requires a comprehensive discussion that must be at the appropriate literacy level of the patient. Apologizing after a suboptimal outcome within 30 days, while initially being seen as an admission of wrongdoing over the last few years, has been protected by state legislatures to allow physicians to make sympathetic gestures to patients. 63% of medical malpractice lawsuits occur in non-academic hospitals. 70% of claims are against physicians who had a previous lawsuit. 75% result in no payment, and there's an 89% physician success rate. Regarding our paper, we highlight multiple risk mitigation strategies, which include maintaining board certification by the American Board of Plastic Surgeons, ensuring maintenance of mandatory certifications as determined by local, state, and federal laws, ensuring surgical procedures are performed at accredited facilities, providing clear written information on surgical procedures that is up to date, ensuring informed consent is obtained with a focus on shared decision-making and precise documentation, not offering surgical procedures outside the scope of practice, not offering surgical procedures if a surgeon or staff do not like the patient, the surgeon cannot understand the patient's goals, or the patient has unrealistic expectations, and lastly, abiding by the universal protocol as outlined by the Joint Commission. I want to thank you again for the opportunity to present our work, which is openly available to read.
On a lighter note, it gives me great joy to present this following award. For those of you who haven't seen it before, haven't been here before, the Constable International Traveling Fellowship is an award that's presented each year. I'd like to give a shout out to the committee. I won't read through everyone's names, but their rigorous review of the applications and vigorous discussions during our meetings online have helped to pick today's awardee. The fellowship itself is awarded to an international plastic surgeon who's given a stipend to come to the U.S. and visit with, observe, and learn from sites here. There have been quite a few different sites that have been visited in the past, and these are just examples of previous fellows. More specifically, if you look at the past, we have 18 prior awardees who really span the globe and represent, again, where we see applicants from each year. This year's awardee is Dagmawi Kalamu Desta, who is an Ethiopian surgeon trained at Black Lion, for those of you who have participated with some of our other organizations and collaborating in the global setting. And he has expressed a strong desire to come here, visit with programs that allow him to advance his microsurgical care as well as his craniofacial care. We're thrilled that he is the awardee and very excited for that. This represents our continuation of the commitment that Dr. Constable had to the education of the global plastic surgery community and collaboration with our colleagues around the world. It's been a privilege for all of us to work with international surgeons. We hope that it will be a privilege for all of you eventually, and encourage you, if you know people or have connections globally, to encourage people to apply to receive this fellowship. And while it may sound like a broken record, because every other thing is saying, hey, if you feel like donating, this is a great opportunity. Well, hey, if you feel like donating and you feel compelled to help with this advancement of global plastic surgery, please consider donating or earmarking some of your donations to the AAPS to help continue Dr. Constable's legacy. Thank you very much.
It's a privilege of the AAPS president to select the Clinician of the Year. And when I examine the recipient list in the last 20 years, they represent the epitome of clinical expertise and experience in their respective subspecialties. However, I also noticed the absence of one specialty in plastic surgery that often requires late-night call coverage across a wide geographic region. And therefore, it is a combination of outstanding clinical skills, dedicated patient care day and night for 34 years, and superior outcome that helped to determine my selection this year. Our Clinician of the Year was born in Evanston, Illinois, and sailing with family at a young age shaped his lifelong hobby. As a Stanford freshman, he met his wife, Susan, and they have been married for almost 46 years. He has been a faculty member at University of Washington since 1990 and has been the chief of plastic surgery for the last 23 years. Nationally, he has led various plastic surgery organizations, including serving as the president of AAPS in 2019. I'm delighted to present to you the 2024 AAPS Clinician of the Year, Dr. Nicholas Vetter.
Wow. This is where I come from, the University of Washington, Harborview Medical Center, where I've worked for the last 34 years. And this is certainly the greatest honor of my career. It's also the most humbling honor of my career. So when I got the notice, my first reaction was, me? And I know there are a number of my friends out there in the audience shaking their heads thinking the same thing, so thanks for your support. But you look at this list, and it's just an amazing collection of legends in plastic surgery, and I do not feel that I belong, but I am very honored. So I'm not the first hand surgeon, but I'm also not one of the founding fathers of the specialty of hand surgery like William Littler. I did not pioneer transplantation or win the Nobel Prize. When I was younger in my career, I did have an NIH-funded basic science laboratory looking at ischemia reperfusion injury, and one of the highlights of my basic science career was the 1991 Plastic Surgery Research Council in Charlottesville when Joe Murray came up to introduce himself and say, "Nick, I love your work." Wow. It was downhill from there. I'm not a pioneer of microsurgery like Harry Bunke. I'm certainly not a flap pioneer like Macron Arnold or Matheson Nahai. I actually took that photo of PG and Foad in Hawaii a while back, both dear, dear friends. Not a facial trauma pioneer like Paul Manson or Joe Gruss, who was my clinician of the year when I was president and was my partner for over 30 years before he sadly died. I'm not a nerve transfer pioneer like Susan McKinnon, who, though we've never worked together, she has been a leadership mentor to me my entire career, and I'm very thankful for that. And I didn't invent the VAC like Lou Argenta. I'm just a regular guy doing hand surgery and reconstructive microsurgery for the last 34 years at the only level 1 trauma center for a quarter of the U.S. landmass and a population base of 11 million people, which is equivalent to the entire LA metro area or the entire New York City metro area. And just imagine one level 1 trauma center for all of LA or all of New York City. So we're busy at Harborview Medical Center. I've had the privilege of doing a lot of great cases and rebuilding many lives. That's what we do as reconstructive plastic surgeons. We rebuild lives. And most importantly, I've been involved in training hundreds of the next generation of hand surgeons and plastic surgeons along the way. That's been the most rewarding to me. So 30 years of level 1 hand trauma call, initially every third night, operating all night, every night. Weekends were 72 hours straight. An incredible experience, incredible privilege, but exhausting. It did give me the clinical experience to write the chapter on the mangled upper extremity in the 5th edition of Green's Operative Hand Surgery, and thanks to Chris Peterson, I've been able to be involved in updating that in every edition since over the past 20 years. So when I was president, I talked about the joy of plastic surgery. Every day I get up, I know I may have an opportunity that day to make a difference in a patient's life that will last their entire life. I can't think of anything more rewarding on earth. So I view it as our gift as reconstructive plastic surgeons, being able to rebuild lives, our patients and our own. So my patients have had the single greatest influence on my career, and I look to them every day for my moral compass, the reason I enjoy so much being a plastic surgeon. An example of this, a Boeing engineer who amputated all 5 digits of his dominant hand, 24 hours later, all replanted, restoring function to his dominant hand and restoring his life, letting him go back to doing what he loved to do, work in his shop. So one of my mentors said, hand surgery is whatever you get your hands on. That's definitely true. I've seen a lot of different things. So scalp avulsion in a young woman working at a fish processing plant. There it is at the scrub sink, kind of looks like a Halloween mask. But after half a dozen microsurgical anastomoses, it's alive again. So she was missing a lot of tissue on the left side. So what do? You use the magic of plastic surgery. And we did the first tissue expansion of a recently replanted scalp and be able to bring hair-bearing skin back down to the ear. I had to tried several indirect brow lifts that didn't work, and eventually did a direct brow lift with a screw into the frontal bone, and that worked. And there she is at 2 years. So rebuilding lives, that's what we get to do. And there's a 20-year follow-up. One of my favorite cases, a 7-year-old girl who had both of her feet nearly yanked off in a boating accident. Quickly plate the tibia, use long vein grafts to reconstruct the artery and vein, and puts alive again. Well, she went on to lose a lot of soft tissue from the crush injury, so did a latissimus free flap, finally got it healed, and she could go back to being a normal kid. One of my favorite patients. She sent me this a few years back, and it hangs by the door to my office. I get to see it every day. I go home, and it reminds me why I love so much doing what I do. There she is, lead scorer on her lacrosse team, cutting right on her replanted foot. So when I was the president of the PSF, I had the honor of giving her the Patience of Courage Award. And some of you were in that room in Boston. And she ran from the back of the room barefoot out on stage. It was pretty cool. What I'm really most proud of is the programs that we've built at the University of Washington over the last 35 years, and certainly one of them is the combined orthopedic plastic surgery hand service that we've built. My partner for the last 32 years on the right, Doug Hanel in orthopedics, the orthopedic program chair and program chair of our plastic surgery residency, Jeff Friedrich on the right. So it's a 34-year-old dean's level agreement, training either in plastic surgery or ortho, hand fellowship, certified. Primary focus is hand surgery. We now have 4 ortho and 4 plastic attendings with cross-departmental appointments, and we train for a year. So it's quite a unique collaboration. It's a national and international model of collaboration, and it's based on one thing, and that's mutual respect, and we have it in spades. So in the end, you get excellence in clinical education research. We now have 128 hand fellow graduates, and I will always be the first one. So our fellows made this for us a couple of years ago, UW Hand Superheroes. I'm Batman. And then our program in plastic surgery at the UW. Do you see the UW waves there? That's us. Founded by Lauren Engrove in 1977. That's Lauren in 1977 with his pocket protector. So when I came back from my residency at the Mass General in 1989, 1 faculty had died, 1 retired, and 2 quit. So it was down to 1 faculty member again. So I became the 2nd faculty member in 1990. Fortunately, that year we were able to bring on Richard Rand and Joe Gruss. I remember vividly sending Joe Gruss videotapes of windsurfing on the Columbia River Gorge to try and convince him to come to Seattle rather than go to Boston Children's. And it worked, and things took off. In 2001, I became the chief, and at that point, we had 5 faculty, all white men, 4 residents, 3 men, 1 woman. Fast forward to today, we now have 19 faculty, 42% of whom are women, 27 residents, soon to be 30, 74% women. That's our amazing group of faculty members, the group at the top being based at Harborview. The middle group is the group that Peter Nelligan built at the UW Medical Center, and the bottom is the group at Children's that Joe Gruss started and Richard Hopper then built. And then our soon-to-be 30 residents, amazing group of diverse, just phenomenal people. Again, 74% women. It's the largest integrated program in the U.S., tied with Southwestern. Our diversity is our strength. I certainly believe that. And residents and fellows are really what keep me going. They are our future. They are our adult kids, our colleagues, our friends who already take care of us. Nothing better than spending a day in the OR with residents, especially when you have 3 of them themselves going into academic medicine and academic plastic surgery, carrying it forward. So as Andy said, I've been president or chair of many organizations, the most important of which to me was chair of this organization, or president of this organization in 2019. And I just love this fellowship that we get to enjoy every time we come together. There's our group in Seattle with our founder, Lauren Engrove, Joe Gruss, Henry Kawamoto at the APS. Joe Lucy took this photo. He calls it the 3 Horsemen. I just love it. So some brief leadership lessons. One of the most important is don't be afraid to surround yourself with people who are better than you. And I've done that whenever I can, but only pick team players. Great people attract more great people. Strong programs attract great people. And in the end, you get synergy. People better than me certainly include Peter Nelligan and Rich Hopper, who were my program co-chairs. Peter built this amazing microsurgical group at the university, and Rich took what Joe Gruss started and built it into the largest craniofacial program in the country. And it has been a distinct honor of mine to have had the gentleman on the right as my academic soulmate for my entire career. Thank you, Andy, for this great honor. Thank you for your leadership, your mentorship, but mostly your friendship. So congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you. Don't want to leave this behind.
Good afternoon. So, Bob Havlick is attending his son's medical school graduation, which is why I'm standing here. And it's an incredible honor to be presenting the Honorary and Distinguished Fellow Awards. This is the committee led by Bob, Frank Pape, Greg Evans, Stephen Kovac, Scott Levin, Russell Reed, and Sherry Slezak. All right. So the Distinguished Fellow Award is given to one or more plastic surgeons annually and recognize a prestigious career in plastic surgery, notable for significant service to the association or to other national or international organizations. It recognizes leadership in the education of others in the field of plastic surgery. And I'm terrified to go the wrong way. Here we go. If you'd please come up in sequence. The first is Linda Phillips, an amazing leader in plastic surgery in every respect. And Linda gave me one of those last year, so that now you understand why she's not giving it and I am. The second is Chris Peterson, who's been an incredible leader, a groundbreaking hand surgeon, educator, and a great mentor and friend. And then Randy Sherman, who had such a huge effect on all of us, a terrific leader. We all miss him. And Randy's brother is here to accept the award from us and from the association. Then the honorary award is the highest award that the association bestows. It's awarded annually and recognizing outstanding contributions in either the humanities or science related to medicine and surgery and appropriate for the recognition by the specialty of plastic surgery. Well, this year it's a distinct honor for me to present this to one of our own, Barman Gairon, who's made seminal contributions and changed the way we all practice. Barman.
Hi, Justin Sachs. We're going to announce the AAPS Academic Scholars. Could I have the slides? So this is the AAPS Academic Scholar Awards, and this is the Research and Education Committee. Many names here. Just take 30 seconds to take a look. Outstanding contribution all year long in getting us through the vetting process, the nominating process, and the voting process. The AAPS Academic Scholar Awards was established in 1992 to foster the career development of an academic plastic surgeon and to facilitate the provision of sheltered research time and resources in the early stages of that individual's career. This year's AAPS Hoops Academic Scholar is Dr. Daniel Cho, MD, PhD from the University of Wisconsin, on his work on association of oral facial clefts with environmental contaminants and sociodemographic disparities. Dr. Cho. Competition was fierce, and Dr. Cho's work truly stood out. Next, the AAPS Research Achievement Awards. This was, once again, also a very, very competitive process, but some clear winners stood out. So established by the association in 2010 and recognized annually, one basic and one clinical researcher who exemplify outstanding research in plastic surgery. Candidates are identified by the Research and Education Committee, and the names of the finalists are put before the association membership, who then vote on the outstanding researchers of the year. The winners of these awards go on to serve as the AAPS visiting professors for the year after they are named, and that truly is a gift that this society gives to all of organized plastic surgery across the United States as these people travel and give their knowledge across the United States and Canada. The 2024 Research Achievement Award winner for clinical research, Dr. Joseph Cerletti. Outstanding. And the 2024 Research Achievement Award in Basic Science to Dr. Eric Liao. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Arun Gosain. It's my honor to introduce the Leonard Rubin AAPS Awards paper. This committee that selected this was here. There's a similar committee this year, but they'll grade every single paper at the association. So we thank them for their hard work and patience in doing that. Greg Evans, Aaron Green, Bill Cuson, Amy Moore, Robert Murphy, Pirang Yu, and Jim Zins were the committee. The Leonard Rubin Best Paper Award was named in honor of Leonard Rubin and is presented each year by the author of the paper selected by the awards committee as the best scientific paper at the association. The recipient of the award will present their paper the following year, which is this year, at the annual meeting of EURAPS, as well as giving you a synopsis today. Our award winner is Kevin Chung on his paper Comparing Distal Radius Fracture Outcomes in Older Adults After Stratifying by Chronological Age versus Physiologic Age, a secondary analysis of the RIST multicenter randomized trial. Kevin? Congratulations, Kevin. Will you be presenting something?
I want to read this email I just sent to Dr. Gosain. Dear Arun, I don't plan to give a speech. Well, he asked me to say something. I think it's important for us to showcase what we have learned in this NIH trial that took over 10 years. This is called the RISK trial, which is a collaboration of 100 investigators from the US, 24 centers, a collaboration between orthopedic surgery and plastic surgery. And why did we do this trial? It took 10 years because this is a trial that randomized patients into distal radius fracture into external fixator, pinning, volar plating, another group that has casting. And why do we want to do this trial? Because we have the experience of treating distal radius fractures since 1819, over 200 years. And the Cochrane report for 10 years ago, when we saw the trial, said there's no robust evidence in anything we do for distal radius fracture. And the AOS, American Academy of Orthopedic Surgery, came up with a guideline saying that those who are 65 years old do just as well with casting. When I look around the room, I see many of my senior members who will have 20% chance in your remaining lifetime to break your distal radius. Do you think that you want your surgeon to put a cast on you for 8 weeks and you're not able to do anything? And then it takes you another 8 weeks to recover. That's about 3 or 4 months. I totally does not subscribe that. So we ran this historical trial to solve a 200-year puzzle. And to summarize to you is that what we found is that there are many things. We published over 20 papers, half of them in JAMA Open. But the most important paper was this commentary that JAMA Surgery asked me to write, the difference between chronologic age and physiologic age. Because it's easy to put a number in the equation and saying those over 65 years old do just well with casting or having surgery. But that's incorrect in the sense that we have to understand personalized medicine. We have to understand the physiology of the people you're treating. And the physiology of those in this room over 65 years old are different from those with multiple comorbidities and do not use the hand. And that commentary say that we have to understand the function of the patient's wishes, and understand the data. And the combination of all those things give us the impetus saying that when the patient is 65 years old, but who is functionally active, who is walking around doing surgery, who is taking care of patients who are playing tennis, need to have plating so the patient can start working much earlier. And that's the foundation of personalized medicine, and that's the foundation of evidence-based medicine. I'm very pleased that, that this was recognized for 10 years of work that was summarized in the last probably 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
For those of you who were there for the presentation, the most notable slide was that young man showing that his physiologic age was much lower than his chronologic age as we saw him weightlifting.
Good. The next award is the Young Clinician Award. Ben Levy also had a graduation to attend, so I'm filling in for him. The AAPS BCRF award encourages young plastic surgeons under 45 to present clinical results and to support more basic research in body contouring and stem cell research. This year's awardee is James Butterfield, WISE pattern versus transverse pattern mastectomy and two-stage implant-based breast reconstruction, a propensity score matched analysis. Congratulations. Okay, it looks like he's not here. And then the next award from our committee is the APS Resident Travel Award. This gives a trainee $1,500 in travel expenses to come attend our meeting. I'd like to thank the Scientific Programs Award Committee on behalf of Dr. Levy. And this year's winner is Ronnie Seamus from Duke University. Congratulations.
Hello. It is my incredible honor to be able to stand before you and present the Robert Goldwyn Mentor of the Year Award. Robert Goldwyn, as many of you know, was an incredible mentor, and this award was established in 2012 by Dr. Cerletti. And Goldwyn was really emblemized everything that is amazing about plastic surgery. He was the editor of the journal, he was a humanitarian, he was a founding member of Physicians of Social Responsibility, and really also a champion of embracing aesthetic surgery into our specialty and really being holistic in how we address our patients. As a mentor, he mentored hundreds and hundreds of plastic surgeons. And I truly can't think of anyone that is more deserving of this award than somebody who's probably mentored at least 2/3 of the people in this room. And especially for me personally, this has probably been one of the greatest mentors outside of my training program that I could ever dream of having. It's my great honor to present this award to Dr. Don Mackay. Don, I know you think that you are going to go fishing for the next year, but this is a traveling award, and so all of you that have residency programs, there's going to be a lot of people who want you to come visit their program, but thank you so much for all that you do for our specialty and for me personally.
That's so cool to get it.